Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Dora the Fluid Crafter, and I'm going to try my best to stay in frame. Let me move this out of the way first. And so this way I have some room to kind of maneuver here. Okay, so I have my signatures that I'm going to be using. Well, 4 of them. There are 2 more, but they're going to be in a different place. And I've picked out some papers that I think would go well, and along with some random papers, also just for color sequence, not necessarily patterns or anything like that, but just color sequence. Um, Various different shapes and sizes, and as you know, you can see this is the first page, and these all stick out. That's fine by me. I like mine like that. I don't like it to be all clean cut, all straight down. And so since this is going to be a personal journal, then this is how I like to have mine. Um, excuse me. So I am going to bind these in this video, and I kind of wanted to show you guys a new method of binding that I have learned from a YouTuber. I am totally going to mispronounce her name if I try. So I'm going to link it up there where you guys can read it. And I'm also going to link her YouTube channel down below. Fabulous, fabulous woman. Oh my gosh. Love everything she does. So in doing so, I wanted to share with you guys what I learned from her in case you guys haven't seen her channel. You can also go and watch how she does it. Maybe if you wanted to do maybe something different, maybe get some different ideas. So this is how I'm going to do it this time. I'll do the first one with you guys, and then I'll speed up or I'll fast forward through the last ones, so that way we can kind of make this quick. Okay, and so she normally has thinner signatures, maybe 3, 4, 5 pages. I have a lot more than that in mine, but there's a reason for that. I want the spacing when I'm done, I want it to be wide. I don't want it to be close together. I want it to be wide. And I'll show you why as soon as we get finished. Okay, so enough speaking. Let's do this. I have a template ready, and what I do is I just take my ruler and I measure where I want to place my holes in my signatures. Now, sometimes my signatures are smaller and I don't use the top 2 or the bottom 2 and just the middle ones, or I don't use the top 2 but the rest of them. And I'll show you what I mean when we get to doing this. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to check to make sure that all of my papers are where I would like for them to be, because there's nothing worse, and make sure they're all upright. There's nothing worse than binding a signature and then looking through and going, oh my gosh, that one's upside down, or that one isn't where I wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going through here and rearranging my pages to kind of put them where I'd like them to be, making sure they're all upright. Okay, so this one here is good. And then I'm going to press this signature very tightly like this, so that a way it's not too far separated, so that a way the corners are as far down as they can go. And then I'm going to take a binder clip and I'm going to clip one side first. I'm going to take my template, I'm going to place in the center, and as you can see, my template goes over the top. And because it goes over the top, I'm going to slide it up, and then I'm going to leave off these top 2. That way it's even. Okay, and I want to make sure this is as even as I can get it here, looking at the bottom spacing and the top spacing. And it's okay if you don't get it quite even. So what I like to do is I have 2 holes marked at the top here, okay? And how I keep it on even on all the signatures is that bottom hole I line up with the top of the pages here. And I do that with every signature, so that way it is even on all of them. It really doesn't matter for what I'm doing, but if I was going to be putting this into a book, into a spine, then that would come in real handy if you wanted to do that. Okay, now that I have that in place, I'm going to add a binder clip to the other side, but on the opposite end. Or I mean the opposite end, but the other side. So I have one on this side and this side. So it holds both sides down. And because I don't have a, I do have, let me rephrase that. I do have a book binding where you punch the holes in, but it's single pages. And it takes so much time to do it. And it's just really a pain in my butt trying to even out where it's folded and things like that. So I'm still in the process of making me a cradle that I can just sit it in, but for right now I just kind of hold it in my hands. I grab a punch and I lay the top on the punch, and what that does is it just gives me sturdiness, so when I push on the inside I can go all the way through. Now I have a tapestry needle. I am not using my awl tool for this because I don't want the hole to be too big. I'm going to grab my metal thimble for my thumb, and I'm going to push the needle through because there's so many layers. So I'm just going to do the first one. I'm just going to pop it in like that, and then I'm going to just push it through slowly. And then I want to come through just about maybe a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, and then I'll pull it back out, and then I'll do that all the way down the page. The awl tool is wonderful and great. I love using it, but because I don't want the holes to be, because you know the awl tool has the it gets thicker as you go up. Sometimes the hole on the inside is really big and the hole on the outside is not very big, and so it just kind of for what I'm doing here, I can't have that hole on the inside so big. And yes, there's a lot of pages in this, so I am definitely having to push a little harder than I normally would in my signatures. And because of the style that I'm doing on this one, which I'll show you guys in just a few, I'm going to take that string out of there. It's just getting in my way. The style that I'm doing, it's important that I don't have, oh my gosh, this one is going to be a pain in my butt now. There we go. There we go. Okay. The style that I'm doing is, okay, there we go. Maybe I can do it sideways on the, I just want to make sure that it goes straight through the center versus the at an angle, because you know sometimes when we push our awl tool through or our needle through, it doesn't always go through the center. It kind of goes at an angle, and so I'm trying to make sure that it goes right down into that center. All right, just a couple more, guys. Just a couple more. You guys can sit here and watch me struggle. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have had them so thick, but that's okay. You know, I mean, it is what it is. And that's why I will speed up through the other ones so you're not, you know, wasting time sitting here watching me go through this. And you know, normally I would not have this much trouble, but because I think I am on camera, I'm going to definitely have some issues. Because that's how it works, right? When you get on camera, everything just falls apart, it seems like. And you know, I'm not pressing really hard, I'm just pressing steady. Because one, I don't want to hurt my thumb in here. And two, I don't want to lose. Come on. There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh, my thumb is killing me now. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over and do the last two. And yeah, my thumb is straight killing me. So I'm going to try to lay this one down. See if I can get it. There we go. There's that one. Okay, that one was a little bit easier. Maybe the paper's not all the way up at the top. Maybe a little thinner at the top, I should say. Not so many pages to go through. There we go. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay. Now, this is where it gets hairy. I'm keeping my binder clips on because I need to, those holes need to stay aligned. Let me move that out of the way. First thing I'm going to do before anything is I'm going to thread my needle. On one side, I'm going to tie a knot, and I do it 4 times. I tie it 4 times to make a nice big knot. And because the hole is through there, I don't want that hole going through, which is the reason why I didn't want the hole on the inside to be very big. And here is a simple way to thread a tapestry needle, because tapestry needles have bigger eyes on them. So if you take your string and you put it between your fingers and then bend it in half, where you have the end down here, and so you have like a loop at the top. Squeeze it to where you can barely see that white piece of string. Let me see if I can get close enough here. I'm not sure if you can see that white string in there. There we go. Okay. So when you see that, take your tapestry needle with the eye facing up, put it over top of where that white string is, and then just go back and forth and kind of just move it, and it pushes it through the eye, and you just pull it through. So easy. So that's how I do it. You know, so future reference if you wanted to give that a try. Okay, so now I have the card. Well, it's not really cardboard. It's craft paper, but it's the brown, thicker craft paper on each of the back ends of the signatures, which I'll also explain in a bit. But for this purpose, this is the, let me see, this is the top of my signature. So I want to start at the bottom of my signature. I'm going to start on the inside first. And and I'm going to pull it all the way through, and then where I tied it, we'll stop it. Okay, and I'm just using white cotton thread. It's not waxed or anything of that nature. It's just white cotton thread. And then I'm going to go into the second hole. Now for this, do not pull it all the way through. Leave a little gap. I am going to be using just some muslin cloth. Okay. I'm going to put this up like here. Okay. And I am going to just glue that down on this craft cardstock. So I'm going to pull this a little tighter so I can line it up. Okay, and I'm going to glue this down, and what this is going to do is this is going to connect the 4 signatures that I have. And I think I'm off frame. I am so sorry. So you go through the second hole, you pull it, you leave a little gap if you didn't see. You put your muslin cloth through the little loop, and then you want to pull that tight and then line it up, and then I'm just going to put just a little bead of glue to hold this top part down so it doesn't shift as I'm doing the other parts. As I go through, I'm going to be doing that with all of them. Okay, and so let's start that. I'm going to use Eileen's tacky glue, and I'm just going to do the tip for now. I'll go back and do the other sections, but I'm just kind of tacking it down at the moment, not using very much at all. Just like so, and that will just hold it in place while I'm going through the other parts. So by the time I get back to this one, that little tack will be dry. Okay, and so we're going to go through the next hole. We're going to do the same thing. Go through the second one. Making sure that I go through this properly. I think I'm going to have to take the binder clips off because something's not lining up right here. So forgive me for just a moment. Let me find out where we are. Here. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing. Make sure I'm in frame here. Trying to stay in frame. I apologize. Okay. And so we're just going to pull this up where we have a little loop. Move that out of the way. And then we're going to take out another piece of muslin, and we are going to put that through the loop like so, and then we're going to pull this string tight as well. Okay, we're going to do our best here to make sure that lays flat, and then I'm just going to take another bead of Eileen's glue at the tip, and we're just going to tack it down. We're not going to saturate it yet. We just want it to be tacked down so that way we can continue on with the other ones. Okay, there's that one. And then just repeat this process all the way up the signature. Okay. There we go. Sorry if I become quiet. And again, I'm trying my best to stay in frame. I'm trying to be close, and I'm so not used to being so close unless I'm doing like a collage with me or something, and you know, I can stay in frame. Okay, so this is going to be our third one here. And we're going to pull that tight. We're going to put a little tack. And if your string is not like really tight for the through the signature, that's okay right now. I can show you how to tighten that up when we get to the end. And I am not left-handed, so trying to do this left-handed is not my forte. Okay, our last one for this signature. And here's the funny thing, I am ambidextrous, which means I can write with both hands, I can paint with both hands, but boy, I cannot sew with both hands. Not at all. Not at all. Okay, now what is going on here? Okay, no. Somehow we missed it right there. We missed the whole dang thing here. Okay, something. Okay. That's really weird. Make sure. And I've got this all the way through here. I'm just going to do that really quick and make sure that stays lined up. I think that may be the only way that I'm going to get it through there. Yep, there we go. Okay. For some reason, I've never had the last one do that to me, but hey, you know what? First time for everything, right? Okay. I apologize for my hands and my fingers. I was playing with my cat earlier and she got me really good in a couple of places. And I washed my hands and things like that, and they're just really red right now where we were playing, so I do apologize. Okay, and so there is the last one right there. Okay, and so then what we're going to do is we're going to open up the center and we're going to lay it flat like this. Okay, let me get back up in frame here. And so I started here at the bottom. This way I don't have to backtrack. I can just go all the way to the top. I'm just going to start here in the middle and I'm just going to pull to tighten each one across the way. Okay. And then pull this last one. Okay. Now it's really tight. And so then I'm going to put my finger on this top one here so it doesn't come loose. I'm going to slide my needle under the loop here. Okay. And I just unthreaded that. Let me rethread this really quick. There we go. Okay, finger here. Okay. Just like on the back side, leave a little loop. Put your needle through the loop. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a knot. Okay. You're going to pull that really tight and put your finger on it. Leave the string up because you're going to do the same thing underneath the loop of the signature. And then you're going to go through that loop and make another knot. And pull it really tight like that. And for security reasons, I always do it twice. Well, 3 times really, I guess you could say. And that holds my signatures in place. And I leave a string, so if I want to hang a dangly off of it, I can do that also. And that is our first signature, like this. So you can get a good look at it. Oops, sorry. Okay? And so what you're going to do is, this is the top, okay? And you're going to flip it upside down, like so. You're going to punch your holes in the next signature, okay? This is the front top. So I'm going to flip it around once I've punched my holes. I'm going to line it up like so. I'm going to take some binder clips and clip the signatures together and then sew them, and then pulling these up between each section here in the holes. Okay? And so that's how I'm going to do that. And now on my template, and I'm not sure if you can see, on my template I have 2 holes. Okay, so each section is 2 holes. And if you'd like, I could maybe do a little show and tell about how to do that. But that is how I create the area for the muslin to go in, that little slit right, or the little slip right there. Okay, and so these are just a half an inch apart, and then a whole inch, half inch, whole, half, whole, all the way down. And that's how I make mine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch the holes in these, and the other two, I'm going to go ahead and sew upwards, finish off, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how it's going to be put in the journal. All right, guys, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so now I have my signatures together. Now it's not finished, okay? And so when you're finished, you should have something that looks similar to this, okay? And just following the first one, you're going to go all the way up through your signatures, no matter how many you are, even if it's just 1 or 2 or 10. You want to do it the same way. Now, here's where you want to, because they're still wobbly, you want to make sure they're as even as you can get them, okay? Around the sides and things like that, make sure that they're even, okay? I'm not squeezing this section together right here because I want this to be out, okay? And so right now I'm just making sure that they're even this way, and then when I come like this, I'm just going to center it the best that I can. I'm going to grab one of my really big binder clips and see if I can put one on here. Ouch. My hands hurt right now from binding these. Okay, so that will work for the moment. Okay, so now that I have these like this, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these apart just a little bit. So I'm trying to stay in frame here. I'm sorry. Okay, so, oh, it's because my phone is getting ready to fall. Look at that. I caught it. Sorry, guys. Oh my goodness, I told you I had a problem with my phone falling off of here. That's why I couldn't stay in frame. Okay, I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. All right, so anyways, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start here, and I'm going to pull this back just a tad, okay, because I want these to relax. And the reason for that is because when I go to open the pages, I don't want this to be so stiff that they hit each other, and you'll understand why I say that in just a minute. And that one's a little loose, but that's okay. I am not stressing over that. There we go. And I'm just working it back and forth between each one. When I cut the ends off, I left, you know, quite a bit over here. And then I'm just going to pull these and space these apart. Make sure that stays on that binder clip as well. Okay, let's make sure here. This one needs to be pulled just a little bit like this. Okay, and so when you have it where you want it, you want to take this side and you want to tack it down like you did this side. I'm going to leave my binder clip on here so that way I don't lose where I'm at. This time I'm actually going to glue the whole thing down, and then I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing where I didn't glue it down before. And I'm just doing a little strip of Eileen's tacky glue right in the middle. And when you do go to put, and when I show you how I'm going to put it into my book, it's not going to lay perfect anyways, and that's okay by me, because I want to be able to add to the other side. Like I said, I'll explain my purpose here in a moment, but yeah, it's going to be multi-purpose. And so let's make sure we get that one. There we go. And this is just to hold it, this section of it from becoming too wide or too open. kind of like a spine of its own, I guess you could say, without putting it in a spine of a book. So you're creating your own fabric spine pretty much, but it's not covering the whole thing, and it's not tight. You don't want it to be too tight. If it's too tight, it won't open at all. It'll just hit itself, and doing that, it won't open where you can journal in it. And I did that once. I made it way too tight, and oh, it was a mess. I had to take it apart. I still use the signatures to do stuff in, but yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna flip this over like so, and now I'm going to do underneath here. Just to make sure that these are down all the way. And you could probably do this in the beginning, but I just always just tack it down because I just want to make sure that I have room, or I don't need to take it back up if I mess up. You know what I'm saying? Like tacking it down, taking one little piece off is a lot better than ripping the whole thing off or starting all over from scratch. Okay, so here is what the spine, I guess you could say, would look like. Okay, so now I'm just going to set this to the side. Let's put my cap back on here, push some of this up out of the way. And then I'm going to bring out my book here. Okay, and so let me move these two signatures. Let's see, how can we do this? Let me move this over here so I can move my water. Pin this up on the, there we go. Okay, let's see if I can get that there. That's in frame. Okay. Okay, so now this here is going to lay on here like this. Okay, so it's not going to be in the spine. It's going to lay just like this. And when I close it, it will close like that. This gives me this open space, but also able to journal with my pages. And I'm going to go ahead and take this off now so I can kind of show you. Okay, and so this is a loose binding. This is not, now the bottom of this will be glued down, so it's not going to be, you know, shifting everywhere. But when you open up the pages, you know, the idea here is, see the gap, okay? The idea is that it just is there. And then it falls over. And so you don't have to, I mean, you can always make it a little bit tighter. I might here in a minute. That does seem a little bit too loose for me. I might tighten that up just a smidge. But like I said, I don't want it to be too tight because I don't want it to, where it won't open at all. And so, yeah. And that is so super loose, and I don't know why that is so loose. But, okay. So, yes. And the idea of this is, like I said, to just have it fall over as you're journaling. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of hard to, it's really hard to explain. But my next section of this one is going to be here, next to this one. Okay, but this one will be on the outer side. This one here, I'm just going to tie in with some ribbon, so this one can be changed out or moved around, or if I want something different. Along with this one, because it's not bound here, I can cut it out of the back of the book and replace the whole thing. So I keep my lap book, memory book, however you would like to call it, if that makes sense. So this way I can have my signatures without having to put them in a spine, but also maneuverable to where I can use them effectively, if that makes sense. I hope this is making sense. Okay, so the next step that we are going to do is we are going to attach it to this. And I know you guys are thinking, why'd you do all that if you're just going to cover it up? Well, I didn't know if I wanted it on this side or that side, so I just did the whole background. So, you know, whichever side was covered up, it's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab another piece of that craft cardstock, and it's already measured out. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to attach it like this. Okay, so that this part is down. So as I'm flipping, see how it stays down, but it's also in this spine area, but it's not attached. So I can still use it, like I said, effectively, but it'll be attached here. If I decide to replace it, all I'd have to do is just cut that piece of cardstock that's attached to this first signature, and the whole thing will come out, and then I can replace it. So that's my goal. Okay, and so now I just need to measure this here, and we're going to do maybe about there. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this over like that. That's going to be my new crease. Okay, and so this is going to go down, this will go over top, and then this little flap here, I'm probably going to cut off, or yeah, and just I'll glue this down, and then I'll glue this over top of it just to give it that more sturdy base, to where it's not just this. Okay, and I won't be covering up too much, so a lot of this will still be showing, and I'm still going to be working in it, so I think that's good. So let me cut this really quick, if I can cut straight. Probably not, and that's all right too. I'll probably take some cardstock and cut over this, or cover over it, not cut over it, cover over it. Okay, so now I'm going to take some Eileen's tacky glue. And yes, I find that the tacky glue works best with this. Eileen's has not failed me when I try to do weird constructions or things of that nature. And so I'm just going to glue the bottom of this, and then I'm going to attach it. And I'm going to use, you know, a good amount, and I am going to glue on the cardstock along with the fabric. Actually, I think I'm going to get my bigger bottle here. Make us go a little bit faster. It's got a little bit of a bigger nozzle. Okay. Just give it a minute to come down. There we go. Yep, that's better. That's going to be a lot faster. And when I seen her do these, I thought, how neat is that? That is so neat, to where you can do that, you know, not just in a regular journal, like, you know, like a traveler's notebook, but you can also do it in a lap book, or, you know, or a, you know, a bigger book. I thought that was like the neatest thing, and I just had to try it. So that's what I'm doing. I am trying it. I'm going to put a little bit more right there. Come on. There we go. Like I said, I want to make sure this holds really well because of the back and forth pressure that I'm going to be putting on it, moving the pages and things. So I want to make sure that it holds really super well. Okay, and let me wipe my hand off. All right, and so as you can see, I have got a good amount of glue. So now before I glue that down, I'm going to measure the end and the end with the top and the bottom. Okay. And I'm just going to center it the best that I can here, but not over into the spine. You want to keep it away from that spine area, just about 1/8 of an inch. That way, when you do fold over your signatures, they can go into that area. Okay, so there is that part. Let me get my score tool here and hold that part down for a moment. I'm going to burnish this really well. Where's my other one at? I don't know. There it is. Okay. Okay, now with those falling, let me make sure that this did not move. And it did not, which is great. Okay. I'm standing up now, so if you see my shadow, I apologize. I want to make sure that this is down all the way, as much as possible. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these 3 here. I'm sorry, my head's probably getting in the way, but I want to make sure that I have this fully down, because the edges, where the fabric is, will sometimes try to pull up on the top and the bottom and the back side. So I want to make sure that's down completely. I'm going to lay this here just so that I don't forget to put it in once it's dry. I'm going to pull these back up here like so. Okay, I'm going to grab my big tools. Okay, I'm going to clip these corners down. Like that. And then let me grab my other big one here. And like this. Come on. There we go. And like I said, when you're on camera, nothing ever seems to work, right? And so, there we go. Now I'm underneath of it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so, and I'm dropping everything too. That's the real life, right? bloopers and all, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so now with those in place, I can show you how it will sit. And so you can see how it will sit. Now, like I said, if you want it to be tighter than that, you're more than welcome to make it tighter than that. I personally might tighten mine up a little bit just to kind of, you know, to where when I do close the book, it's not stressing. But yeah, but for now, I kind of like it like that. But like I said, let me move that over just a tad. There we go. So I can close the book. Okay, so there is that. And that is what I'm going to be doing, ladies and gentlemen. And this one, like I said, is going to be here. And then again, I might put it in the spine here. I am not sure yet. I'm not sure. But I do want these in here as well, and also removable, so that way I can keep using this book, or even adding to it later, or even changing it into a full-blown lap book. Who knows? Okay, and so that is how I do my binding. And this time I'm actually going to put it in the book like that. Most of the time when I do my binding like that, I'll show you here. I don't attach it into a book. I leave it as is. This is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 small signatures. And I have done these the same way that I've done this. And then I've just added a piece of cloth down the spine to give it its own spine. And so when I open it, it's its own little book, if that makes sense. And so I like these because these are easy to just shove in my purse, my bag, my travel, anything where I'm going. You know, I enjoy doing ones like this. I actually have quite a few that I've done like this myself. And these are also really cool to put into a bag journal. And so what you would do here is, for a bag journal, now you might need a little bit of a bigger bag than this, is you would just put it into wherever you're going to make your spine. Okay, let's just say, now I know I don't have this right, but say you're going to place it right there. Well, you already have your made. So the only thing you'd have to do to attach this into the book is to sew between where the cloth is, instead of into your signatures, if that makes sense. That's how I've done them. It just kind of makes it easier for me, rather than sewing in and then sewing in and then trying to make sure it's even and straight. I do it like that because then everything's already straight. So yeah, I mean, that's maybe a new idea if you guys wanted just to make something for yourself, something to write in, or maybe just save pictures from a trip in. I've been doing a lot of my memory keeping in them, and it's actually been wonderful. So I'm going to let this dry, and we are going to come back to it in the next video, which I am so super excited to start. So that's probably going to take all day, and maybe even tomorrow. So yeah, thanks guys so much for joining in. I want to thank all of my subscribers, all of my new subbies for coming and watching my videos. I appreciate it so very much. It brings so much joy to my life that other people are inspired by things that I create, and I love each and every one of you so much. And please stay blessed, be creative, think outside your box, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye now.